Today I will be presenting on Eglantyne Jebb. Eglantyne Jebb's early life and background were marked by a blend of privilege, education, and an evolving consciousness towards social issues. She was born in Ellesmere, England, to an upper-class family in the late Victorian era. Eglantyne and her sister Dorothy grew up in a setting that was both conventional and unconventional. Their father, Arthur Jebb, opposed higher education for women. However, they were supported by their suffragist aunt, Louisa Jebb, who financed their education. Eglantyne's education started at Oxford, which opened her eyes to the suffering and oppression of common people throughout history, shaping her resolve to devote her life to those less fortunate. She then went to Stockwell Training College, where she trained to be a school teacher. Stockwell Training College and her brief teaching career introduced her to the realities of educational inequality and the challenges of working within the system to enact change through encounters with children who were unhealthy, had little interest in learning, and displayed a range of behaviors from aggression to withdrawal. She left teaching due to health issues and started doing charity work at Cambridge, where she was exposed to the stark realities of poverty, destitution, and hopelessness within the city. Her research and activism there laid the groundwork for her future humanitarian efforts. When traveling to Macedonia on behalf of the Macedonian Relief Fund, it was reinforced her belief in universal humanitarian principles, advocating for aid without discrimination based on religious or political grounds. Some of her achievements and milestones were writing Cambridge, a study in social questions. After leaving her teaching position due to her health issues, Jebb's work with a society organization in Cambridge exposed her to the stark realities of poverty. She gathered extensive data and information on the poor living conditions in Cambridge, leading her to publish this work in 1906, which emphasized the responsibility of society to address the wretchedness of the urban poor, challenging the acceptance of their circumstances as unalterable. On May 16, 1919, Jebb co-founded the Save the Children Fund with her sister Dorothy, marking a significant milestone in humanitarian efforts focused on children's welfare. This organization, the second oldest humanitarian organization dedicated to children, has saved millions of lives and reshaped societal views on childhood. In January 1920, Jebb expanded her efforts globally by establishing the Save the Children International Union in Geneva, enhancing her influence in international child welfare. Jebb's activism became publicly known when she and Barbara Artin Gould distributed leaflets in Trafalgar Square to raise awareness about the suffering of children in Europe post-World War I, demonstrating her innovative approach to advocacy. This led to her arrest for unauthorized leaflet distribution, and her court defense highlighted her moral commitment to children's welfare, leading to increased public support for her cause. Perhaps her most notable accomplishment, though, was persuading the League of Nations to adopt the Declaration of Geneva in 1924, the first international document on children's rights, laying the groundwork for future legal frameworks, including the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Jebb's ability to engage with and gain the support of influential figures and organizations such as Pope Benedict XV and the Archbishop of Canterbury underscored her effective advocacy for children's rights, making these achievements and milestones possible. Some challenges and struggles that she faced were legal opposition and social skepticism. Jebb's efforts to mobilize support for children's welfare and rights often met with skepticism and resistance. At a time when humanitarian aid was primarily focused on immediate relief, her vision for systemic change and children's rights was ahead of its time, facing resistance from those who were unable to see beyond the conventional charity model. Jebb's activism led to her arrest and trial. This tested her resolve, but also provided a platform to gain public support for her cause, illustrating her ability to turn adversity into an opportunity for advocacy. Jebb's personal health issues, including her struggles with thyroid disease, could have hindered her work or stopped it altogether. However, she continued her activism and organizational efforts despite her physical limitations. Jebb's deep religious beliefs and moral convictions sometimes put her at odds with the prevailing social and political attitudes of her time. Her rejection of eugenics and her belief in universal suffrage and social scientific models of inequality required her to challenge established norms and advocate for a more compassionate and equitable approach to social reform. Her personality traits, values, and beliefs and motivations shaped her actions and decisions, driving her lifelong commitment to social reform and child welfare. Um, Jebb's approach to humanitarian aid was innovative. She recognized early on that charity alone was insufficient and that systemic change and global cooperation were necessary for sustainable children's rights and welfare. Jebb's ability to inspire and influence others, from influential figures like Pope Benedict XV to the general public, underscores her exceptional leadership and communicative skills. Jebb's beliefs and actions were guided by a strong moral and ethical compass. She was deeply religious and believed in universal suffrage, emphasizing the moral power of individuals and societies to effect change. Her rejection of eugenics-based explanations for poverty in favor of social scientific models reflects her ethical stance on social reform. Jebb's resilience is evident in her response to challenges, such as her arrest and subsequent trial, as well as her health struggles. Despite these, she remained steadfast in her mission. Jebb's intellectual curiosity and her analytical approach to social issues enabled her to gather data and develop insights into the root causes of poverty and deprivation. Her studies and publications highlight her intellectual rigor and commitment to evidence-based social reform. Jebb's efforts to address the dire condition of children shows her empathy. Her ability to mobilize support and advocate for the welfare of children across different sectors of society showcases her compassion and understanding of human suffering. These lead to her impact and legacy. Save the Children Fund not only saved millions of children's lives, but also transformed societal views on childhood and children's welfare. The organization's growth into a global entity underscores Jebb's enduring impact on the field of humanitarian aid. Jebb's relentless advocacy led to the drafting and adoption of the Declaration of the Rights of the Child by the League of Nations in 1924. This pivotal document laid the groundwork for future international treaties and declarations focused on children's rights, including the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child in 1989. Jebb's work in this area cemented her legacy as a pioneer in the children's rights movement. Jebb's principles and the Declaration of the Rights of the Child influenced the establishment of the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, and shaped the UN Declaration on the Rights of the Child in 1959. Her visionary approach contributed significantly to setting international child welfare standards. Her work has inspired countless individuals and organizations globally to join the cause of children's rights, ensuring her place as a pivotal figure in humanitarian history. Jebb's legacy extends far beyond her lifetime, continuing to influence today global efforts to protect and promote the rights of children. The principles she championed are embedded in the ongoing work of the Save the Children organization and other child welfare organizations, reflecting her lasting impact on global social welfare policies. And Jebb, because her pioneering work with the Save the Children Fund and her relentless advocacy for systemic change deeply inspire me. Her Jebb's innovative approach to addressing the complex issues facing children, especially in times of crisis, and her courage to challenge societal norms demonstrate the impact one individual can have on shaping global policies and practices. Her ability to think outside the conventional frameworks of her time and push for the establishment of children's rights as a recognized international concern reminds me of the importance of creative thinking and bold action in social work. Jebb's legacy encourages me to pursue innovative strategies in advocacy and underscores the significance of working both within and beyond existing systems to effect meaningful change for the betterment of society. And here are my references. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation, and thank you for listening.